Some severe storms across West Texas. Let's take a look right now at the radar. Mitchell County, there I am as I pop up here. Mitchell County included in this severe thunderstorm warning until 6:15 p.m. This is pushing on off to the east towards Mary Neal. Not included off, Nolan County is not included in the severe thunderstorm warning, but this is pushing in from the west. We'll have more on this in just a second. Tim, I'm going to toss it over to you as we begin the show here. Oh, I'm starting, right? Never mind.
I'll open, just double box
great.
into you right away.
Okay, I'm gonna go back. We're about 30 seconds out. I thought we had a little bit. I thought we had a little bit less time, Tim. But let's just start with the tornado watch. Pretty much for everybody. This goes into effect until 11 p.m. Especially off to the southeast, San Angelo and Abilene. It goes until 9 p.m. We're about 15 seconds out. So I'm gonna quit talking. We'll have more on this in just 1 second. Hold tight.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us tonight, not only here on Fox West Texas, but streaming live as well on Facebook Live. I'm Tim O'Brien. We'll get right to it. It's severe weather season. It's upon us here in West Texas. Storms developing in the area, or much of the area. Meteorologist Joe DeCarlo joining us now with more. Joe, much of the same as last night into this afternoon, and here we go again for night two.
Yeah, it's been already a long day for some of us across West Texas. It's going to be a long night as well. Tornado watch for everybody included here in the shade of yellow, and that's a pretty good portion of the Lone Star State from Del Rio all the way just to the west of San Antonio. Junction, our area included as well. San Angelo and Abilene, both included in this tornado watch. Our area up to the north here, northeast, San Angelo and Abilene, this goes until 9 p.m. Further off to the southeast, those Brady down towards Junction, goes until 11 p.m. So we're tracking a few storms right now across West Texas. Been tracking it on Facebook Live earlier in the afternoon as well. Right now, a one severe thunderstorm warning for our local area. Good news, no tornado warning at the time being, but we have a severe thunderstorm warning right now here in Mitchell County. That goes for about another 15 minutes or so for 6:15 p.m. Good news, this cell has weakened a little bit as it came out of the out of the west from Big Spring, moved through Colorado City on the south side of town in particular here. We're looking for rotation. We've seen those supercells rotating earlier this afternoon. Right now, not seeing any rotation in the velocity signature here in Mitchell County, so that's some good news. Hail and damaging winds is the main threat, but the hail core continues to weaken in central Mitchell County as well. So upwards of about pea size right now. It was about $half size a little bit further off to the west about 30 minutes ago. This has weakened now. So pea size hail right now in central Mitchell County. This is not the only storm we're tracking. That's the only severe storm right now at the moment. But further off to the east, Carbon, Rising Star, down towards Brown County here, Brownwood, and towards Santa Ana. This is a pretty good cell here. This is pushing on off to the east. Not severe warned at the moment, but some gusty winds and small hail cannot be ruled out in this cell. Back towards the Concho Valley here, San Angelo, we've been dry all day. San Angelo, the wording is not showing up here, but this is San Angelo. We're dry at the moment. Activity off to the southeast here. Some showers moving out of Cristobal. This is not severe warned at all, but this cell is getting its act together a little bit, so this is going to be one to watch over the next 30 minutes here as we move through the rundown here. So just north of Eden, between Eden and Paint Rock, watching this cell. These cells are in a very unstable environment. We may see them form very quickly and turn severe quickly as well. So if anything develops, we'll obviously come back. We'll be on Facebook Live throughout the evening, and we'll have much more on the storm threat in a few minutes.
Now we'll let Joe regroup here a bit, and of course, not only on Facebook Live, but he'll come back in here with a full look at your forecast headed into your Thursday as well. Just not out of the woods yet in terms of severe weather, as meteorologist Joe DeCarlo mentioned, across much of West Texas. But as he regroups, I want to go ahead and take a look at some of the map. We present this map to you each week about West Texans and who is fully vaccinated by county. Well, nearly 1/3 of our direct viewing area is fully vaccinated at this time. Each county has gone up 1 to 2% on average. All good signs, of course. As you take a look here, Tom Green County, 32.69%, Taylor County, 32.27%. The bigger counties here where the vaccine hubs were in our direct area. You look at somewhere like Mitchell County at 15.13%, the lowest out of all of our counties in the viewing area. But you look at somewhere like Menard at 40.89%, not too far off from being at least half of the county being fully vaccinated. So this is important to note. As mentioned, 1 to 2% each county has gone up over the last week. You can get all this information in terms of how many people are vaccinated by percentage, fully vaccinated, that is, within our direct viewing area at foxwtx.com. All good in that department, but there's been a trend that everyone, once you've received the first dose, not everyone's getting that second dose. And according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, approximately 5 million Americans have skipped out on getting that second dose. Our Cami Simmons learned more on what that means for us here locally in West Texas.
According to local health authorities, 20 to 40% of people are getting their vaccines in our area. However, there are millions of Americans not getting the second dose. Here's why local health officials say getting that second shot is essential.
You cannot get COVID from an RNA vaccine. There's no virus in there that cannot give you COVID.
Area officials are urging for residents to get the first and second dose of the Moderna or Pfizer, or one-shot dose of Johnson & Johnson.
It's for the Pfizer and the Moderna that you're going to increase your protection up over 90%. With only one vaccine, you're only running in the 60% range. So it's important to get that second vaccine to prevent you from spreading it and help you to fight the illness as well.
Local area health authority representatives saying receiving one dose is not going to cut it.
One is halfway there, and that's not going to protect you nor keep you from giving it to them. They need two for the Moderna and the Pfizer to get the maximum benefit from the vaccine.
Our question is, why are there so many no-shows when it's time to get the second vaccine? Local health authorities saying some people are scared they're going to catch COVID-19. However, health officials say this is not true.
They're not going to get COVID because they're not receiving a COVID virus. They're just getting the messenger virus, the messenger code.
And health officials say if you missed the second appointment for that second dose, to simply just give them a call. Cami Simmons, Fox West Texas.
Now, COVID-19 precautions have mitigated the spread of more than just the virus. According to numbers from the Texas Department of State Health and Services, the Lone Star State has seen a near record low in regards to the flu cases just in the 2021 flu season. According to the latest numbers, the state has recorded a total of 834 positive flu cases. Last year, they were more than 27,000. Flu may not be as infectious as COVID-19, but spreads in much of the same fashion. Policies such as social distancing and mask wearing working to contain that spread. And an oil field explosion causes a tank to launch in the air 10 miles south of Sweetwater. The pump jack connected to 3 tanks caused one tank that was empty of oil but was filled with fumes to ignite and explode. This all happened after one tank was struck by lightning early this morning, again going back to some of those severe storms that were had up in the Big Country last night. Now, according to Grant Madden, Sweetwater Fire Chief, the fire was out quickly once the scene was cleared to be extinguished, but the equipment there was a total loss. And Big Spring City Council taking what it calls proactive steps to protect the right to bear arms in the community through a measure on the City Council agenda supporting the Second Amendment. Now, the resolution opposes unconstitutional actions on the part of the federal government as it relates to the particular amendment. Now, the resolution was passed to protect the right. This would make a Big Spring Second Amendment stronghold.
Although it achieves the same goals as Second Amendment sanctuary city resolutions in other Texas counties. But long story short, it's a way for the city council and the citizens to express their support of the Second Amendment and to basically advise this council and future councils of what they think is acceptable and what isn't acceptable.
The resolution does not have the same power as an ordinance. It's simply a line in the sand, between the city and governing body that tries to restrict gun rights. Governor Greg Abbott saying he will sign legislation allowing Texans to carry handguns in public without a license, as the proposal is building momentum in the Texas legislature. Abbott breaking his previous silence on the matter as recently a week ago. He declined to comment on the proposal. Well, Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick has said the Senate does not have the vote, but he is trying to overcome that last hurdle. Last week, Patrick created a new committee with a majority of permitless carry supporters. House Bill 1927 was then referred to the panel and is set for a hearing tomorrow. State leaders announcing that the release of $11.2 billion in federal funding to help public school address students' learning losses and costs that are across the pandemic. Officials say these one-time funds are intended to support a statewide learning recovery effort over the next 3 years. 2/3 of the funds are available as grant administered, but the Texas Education Agency. The remaining third contingent on approval by the U.S. Department of Education. This is the largest single-year increase in funding for the Texas public education system in history. The funds do not include the more than $5 billion for Texas education allotted as part of the Coronavirus Response and Relief Supplemental Appropriation Act. Now, if you still don't have your Real ID, well, don't worry. You just got a 19-month extension. What I mean by Real ID, the Department of Homeland Security announcing it will delay enforcement until May of 2023 because of the coronavirus pandemic. Now, the Real ID is an enhanced driver's license or identification card. It features the star at the top that will be required to fly or enter many federal buildings. Onward with the flying theme, the Abilene Regional Airport, TSA, will be hosting a TSA pre-check pop-up event. It'll allow for one to get throughout airport lines quicker. One is not required to take off their shoes, to take out their liquid or laptop once they obtain what they call the known traveler number. Registration is not always available to Abilene residents, as they would normally have to drive or fly to the nearest largest airport. At this event, one will be required to do an in-person interview, bring identification information, and you'll be fingerprinted. Also, that $85 fee.
We try to take it around the country so that folks who don't always have an opportunity to do this can apply, because there are some requirements that make it a little bit challenging if there isn't a center near you.
The event will take place May 3rd through the 7th at the airport. You can go ahead on to tsa.gov and search TSA PreCheck. There you can find more details and information. Now, after Derek Chauvin was convicted of murdering George Floyd, the Black community is now reflecting on the traumatic events that have occurred this past year. Research shows the Black community suffers from an increased rate of mental health and concerns, including anxiety and depression. Some things that play a role in this include the lack of access to responsive mental health care, dealing with daily prejudice and racism and historical trauma. One West Texas therapist say that since the beginning of the pandemic, more African Americans are open to seeking therapy.
Taking some personal responsibility as into what you are exposing yourself to and what you're allowing yourself to see. A lot of things that are circulating around that we are seeing really should be reported instead of shared. The awareness is growing. I think the curiosity is growing. Over time, more and more people will be interested in actually seeing what they can get out of therapy.
Tonight on Fox West Texas Live at 9, we'll hear from the Let Me Breathe, an Abilene nonprofit organization that aims at advocating empowerment, equality, and justice for the underserved in the community. Still ahead tonight, prices at the pump going up is not what you wanted to hear, but it beats the alternative. Chances of no gas at all this summer. We'll talk about it next. So as we hopped off air here just for a moment, commercial break on Fox West Texas. We are continuing to monitor the situation in terms of severe weather. Meteorologist Joe DiCarlo in the newsroom looking at the maps here on Facebook Live. If you're watching on Fox West Texas as well, I apologize for some of the technical difficulties of freezing. It's better off to freeze in a story than on my face, so you don't have to see it any more than you have to tonight. Joe, what's it looking like there in the newsroom?
Yeah, I'm going to take over at the radar here. I'm going to stay out in the newsroom right now, so you won't see my face, but I want to be able to move around this map here. So severe thunderstorm warning right now in Mitchell County, currently ongoing. We have more on that, but it's about to expire in 5 minutes. This cell has lost a lot of its oomph that it had earlier in the evening. So it's kind of dying as it moves on off to the east into Nolan County. That's some good news. But elsewhere, as I move this around here, some strong storms, especially in our northeastern areas. This cell here, not severe warned at the moment, but it is putting down a lot of rainfall, some gusty winds, and some small hail possible as well. Actually, as I'm sitting here, I've just seen a significant weather advisory for central Brown County with this cell as it heads towards Brownwood. It is expecting up to nickel-sized hail and gusts up to 50 miles an hour. So not a severe thunderstorm warning. It's just under that criteria for it, but we're seeing that nickel-sized hail possible and some 50-mile-an-hour winds here just on the north side of Brownwood. So a pretty good cell here. Moving on off to the east at about 30 miles an hour. Elsewhere, I know we've gotten a lot about San Angelo. San Angelo, we're dry, quiet right now. Some cells off to your southeast, south of Wall and north of Eden here. Watching for these cells to possibly turn severe, but right now not seeing it. Some light to moderate activity, so that's some good news. If we want rain in San Angelo, we're looking off to the southwest. Some light showers trying to move in, but not really seeing it headed towards San Angelo right now. But we have a long night ahead. I'm going to pass it back over to you, Tim. We got about 10 seconds before we come back on, and have more in a few minutes here.
Joe. The coronavirus pandemic eases. Drivers may see a summer gas shortage. Now, concerns are rising as vaccinated Americans enter travel season by simply hitting the roads. Well, according to the national tank truck carriers, there's a low number of tanker truck drivers needed to deliver to gas stations as demand for fuel dried up because of that pandemic and the related shutdowns. Now, the NTTC saying around 20% of tank trucks are sitting idle due to driver shortages. Now, the news also comes as the American Automobile Association reports that the national average for a gallon of gas is up to $2.89, up from $1.77 this time last year. President Biden's first address to Congress comes on the eve of his 100th day in office. The White House saying the president will discuss police reform, immigration, gun safety, foreign policy, and the pandemic. His remarks come one day after the CDC announcing its easing guidance on wearing masks, saying it's okay for those fully vaccinated to go outdoors without a mask. President Biden also plans to unveil his American Families Plan, the final piece of his $4 trillion spending proposal. It calls for $1.8 trillion in investments and tax credits for American families, expected to benefit 5 million children, save the average family of $13,000, and provide a community college and pre-kindergarten free across the country.
And universal pre-K, that's not a partisan proposal. That's something people across the country really could benefit from.
But Republicans are criticizing the president's spending plan, saying he's done little to reach across the aisle, say that the president has lost credibility with the American people when he previously said he would work for a bipartisan Congress. Senator Tim Scott of South Carolina will be giving the GOP's response to the address directly after the president's address, which will air here on Fox West Texas around 8 p.m. Central Time. A little programming note, we will go on Fox West Texas live at 9:30 for a full hour up until 10:30. Federal investigators have executed a search warrant at Rudy Giuliani's Manhattan home today. An attorney for Rudy Giuliani has confirmed that agents have raided the Giuliani residence. The former New York City mayor has been under investigation over his business dealings in Ukraine. Search warrant details not immediately available. And we've previously reported that there may be some changes coming this year for the Burning Man Festival, but now that has been snuffed out for the second year in a row. Burning Man, Nevada's wacky desert arts and music festival that builds to the finale of Torching a Giant Burning Man, has been canceled for 2021. Organizers had been hoping the show would go on while deciding about having festival lovers get vaccinated, but now they've closed down the idea for this year altogether. The event was also canceled last year, you may remember, and Burning Man, well, it regularly draws about 80,000 people to the Black Rock Desert, which is about 100 miles north of Reno. Joe? Well, we're still under severe weather, as we mentioned. Sorry about that, Desmond, in there. Joe, look, we've got to get to it. It's going to be a long night, as you mentioned. What has developed in the last few moments?
Yeah, relatively quiet across West Texas now, especially here in the Concho Valley. As we take a live look right now at downtown San Angelo. We've been quiet, dry all day long, but you feel the humidity, the moisture, the instability out there. And we've had a pretty good amount of storms, especially off to our east and northeast throughout the day today. Right now, 82 degrees in San Angelo, 73 in Abilene. Dew point temperatures, they're in the mid-60s. That is that moisture, a lot of moisture out there for those storms to work off of, and we are dealing with some activity. We'll go to the radar in just a second, but tornado watch once again issued for a lot of us across West Texas, including both Abilene and San Angelo. That goes until 9 p.m. And then from Junction off to the southeast towards the hill country, that is in effect until 11 p.m. We've had quite the storm go through Del Rio. We had baseball-sized hail, 2 to 3 inch hail with a storm near Del Rio at the current moment. So some supercells ongoing here in the Lone Star State, and that tornado watch in effect for a lot of us across West Texas. Satellite and radar right now, the strongest storms here are off to the east and then one off to the northwest. We had a severe thunderstorm warning on this. This just expired at 6:15 p.m. So at the current moment, there is not any severe thunderstorm or tornado warnings ongoing. We want to keep it like that, but there is going to be more development over the next few hours, so it probably won't last for long. And we do have this one cell right here that I'll get to in just a second, but this was the severe thunderstorm warning a second ago. It is now weakened. You see that in the last several frames as it moves south of Colorado City. It lost its intensity, and this storm is dying off right now as it heads into Nolan County, just off to the south of Interstate 20 and south of Roscoe. So this storm will continue to push on off to the east. We'll track it. It's headed towards Nolan, and Sweetwater going to get some rain as well. But this is a weak thunderstorm right now as it pushes on off to the east. The stronger one right now, not severe warned. This may go severe warned, though, over the next 30 minutes or so, just to the north of Brownwood as it pushes into Early. So Brownwood, Early, up towards Comanche. This storm is headed towards you. Heavy rainfall. There is a significant weather advisory here for central Brown County. So right about here, nickel-sized hail and 50-mile-an-hour winds possible with this cell as it pushes on off to the east at 30 miles an hour. San Angelo, I don't know why it doesn't say San Angelo, but San Angelo is right here. We've had it, and then sometimes it loses it. I don't know why, but that is San Angelo right here where you see those roads come together here. We're quiet. We do have one cell, though. This has gone up in the last 5 minutes. We'll watch this carefully just off to the west of Cristoval. Going to go about this way, so just on the southeast side of San Angelo, we may see a little rain. We'll watch if this cell develops into possibly a stronger cell, but right now just a light shower west of Cristoval. Some activity here just off to the west of Eden as well, and to the north just south of Paint Rock. This cell as well, not severe warned at the current moment, but those are the cells right now here in the Concho Valley, and we're going to continue to track it over the next several hours. So future radar, this is 7 p.m. seeing about what we are seeing now. Then it expands. More widespread activities get towards 9 p.m. Some of these could be strong to severe. So San Angelo, we have not seen anything. Best chance to see severe weather is going to be to our east, but we'll track this because future models do have additional storms developing over the next few hours. This is 11 p.m. Strongest stuff down towards the hill country here. These are very strong storms, some possible tornadoes, and very large hail expected with that. And during the overnight period, most of it is off in the hill country. And as we head towards tomorrow, additional chances of some showers. This was not in the forecast earlier in the week, but it has looked like this shower activity is going to stick with us. Isolated nature, but it's going to stick with us tomorrow and into your Friday and possibly even Saturday as well. So lows tonight, a little bit cooler, right around 60 degrees with those showers continuing. Tomorrow, we'll have isolated showers throughout the entire day, so a cooler day. Temperatures only reaching the low 70s and scattered rain showers. Good news, though, no severe weather expected for your Thursday. We'll let you know if that changes. Highs tomorrow, upper 60s to low 70s, so a cooler day across West Texas. We stay with an isolated chance Friday and Saturday. Temperatures stay cool, upper 60s to low to mid 70s up in Abilene Friday and Saturday. Then we clear things out, bring out more sunshine towards the end of the weekend into next week, and we heat up. Mid 90s expected by early next week. We'll have much more coming up after the break. All right, back here live on Facebook, Tim. I'm going to rewind this a bit. Give an update. Okay, so once again, I'm just going to talk about this cell here in Brown County here. So not severe warned at the current moment, but this is the strongest storm we see right now here in West Texas between Rising Star and Brownwood. Nickel-sized hail, winds up to 50 miles an hour. This continues to push eastward at about 30 miles an hour. So it's going to head into Comanche here by about 6:45, 7 o'clock as this continues to push eastward. Then it'll head out of our viewing area, headed towards the Stephenville area and Hamilton. So it's moving eastward, not severe warned. We'll watch this carefully, but nickel-sized hail and 50-mile-an-hour winds possible with this as we jump back here towards San Angelo. Watching this one cell here west of Cristoval. It's come in the last 5 minutes or so. It continues to push on off to the northeast. It's going to go on the north side of Cristoval. San Angelo is right here, so we're starting to see some showers maybe on the south side of town towards Lake Nasworthy. Some drizzle showing up here, but this storm could rapidly develop, so we'll watch this carefully. This is the one that threatens San Angelo at the current moment, so we'll watch that cell very closely to the south side of town here, and then also some more activity up towards west of Eden, and then now into Paint Rock. This cell, I was watching this one has almost completely diminished here as it moves towards Paint Rock, so relatively weak storm with this one. And we'll watch all of these cells because the atmosphere is very moist, a lot of instability out there, so you can't rule out any storm to possibly have some rotation and some large hail. But right now, nothing's showing up on the radar except this one near Cristobal. I'll keep an eye on that. I'm going to head out to the newsroom, regroup, and have the latest on that coming up here in a few minutes. But I'm going to toss it over to our Mark Brown standing by with sports. We're about 10 seconds out. So, Mark, it's all yours.
Good evening and thanks for watching Fox West Texas Sports. The Lakeview football team will not be participating in spring football this year. However, head coach Hector Guevara has big plans in mind. I spoke to coach about what his plans are for the rest of the spring semester.
The Lakeview Chiefs are coming off a 4-7 overall record and 0-3 in district play from last season. The team will not be participating in spring football. However, head coach Hector Guevara is making sure the players are committed to improving in other activities.
We are actually piecing it together. We're working on offense on certain days and on Mondays and Mondays and Wednesdays, and then the following week we'll go defense Mondays and Wednesdays, depending on what activities the kids have.
During the summer, the UIL has provided 90 minutes of skill time for sporting activities, 1 hour max with one sport, and 30 minutes for another on a daily basis, Monday through Friday. Coach Guevara says they will do 7-on-7 football.
We'll start 7-on-7. Actually, we'll start here pretty quick. We're going to go in May into June. Then we're trying to get into a 7-on-7 tournament. So hopefully state qualifier. Hopefully we get a couple of those in.
Moving on to depth chart changes, Coach Guevara says it's too early to tell. The team lost some key players in different positions from last fall, but he's confident with the underclassmen stepping up.
Right now, every kid's interviewing for a job, and they're doing their best, and we're excited. We're excited to see the competition amongst each other, and they push each other, and they're excited for an opportunity, and so we'll see what happens.
Coach Guevara says the team is excited for 7-on-7. The kids have been working hard, and they're looking forward to the 2021 season.
Now on to Angelo State sports. Angelo State football head coach Jeff Gersh announced the fall 2021 schedule for the upcoming season. There will be 10 games total, 5 home and 5 away games. The season opener will be on the road against Lindenwood in St. Charles, Missouri. On September 25th, the Rams will make their longest trip of the season to Ellensburg, Washington, facing the Central Washington Bobcats. The final game will be away at Texas A&M Kingsville. Now on to the national side of sports. Star wide receiver Antonio Brown is re-signing with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on a 1-year contract, according to ESPN. AB's deal could be worth up to $6.25 million and is guaranteed $3.1 million, including a $2 million signing bonus. ESPN First Take host Stephen A. Smith said Brown's re-signing shows commitment to Tom Brady. And if you missed any of that, you can see it all again on the Fox West Texas mobile app. Get your news, weather, and sports on your phone. It can be downloaded on Google Play and Apple stores. You can also stay with all the action on foxwtx.com, and we'll have more news right after the break.
All right, still live here on Facebook. I'm tracking one cell here. Let me walk on to the screen here. Actually, 2 cells. We've had some comments on Facebook Live asking about San Angelo. So we're going to move on off to San Angelo right now as I come onto the screen here. Maybe not. South of town here. So San Angelo, we've avoided all of the activity right now, and I know people want rain, and there we go. There I am. Just come on in here. But okay, so San Angelo, we have not seen rain, and people want to see rain, and seeing is it going to be quiet for the rest of the night? No bad weather. Things change rather quickly around here, and if you don't know that across West Texas, things develop rather quickly, and we've been calling for it all afternoon. So San Angelo, we've been dry, but look on the south side of town now. We have a developing thunderstorm ongoing right now west of Cristobal. This is going to push north and northeastward over the next 20 minutes or so. So this is a cell to watch. It's rapidly developing, as you could see that on our radar here. So San Angelo, we're not out of the woods here. It's not severe warned. There is nothing happening at the current moment. It's a weak storm right now as I just checked the radar, but it is growing rather quickly, and this is the one that we're going to have to watch over the next 30 minutes or so because it could rapidly develop into an intense thunderstorm. So right now, it's just a light shower right now south of San Angelo, but as you can see, it's increasing in development rather quickly, and if we want rain in San Angelo, this is the storm we want to watch. We want to keep it just rain. We don't want the hail. We don't want the tornado. We don't want anything like that. But not in the short term over the next 5 minutes, but this is the one that we're going to watch. So we're about to come back on the air here. I'm going to toss it over to our Tim O'Brien, and we'll have more information coming up in a sec.
Welcome back, everyone. Let's just get right to it. Of course, meteorologist Joe DiCarlo closed this thing out. Seems like it's settled down maybe just a little bit.
Yeah, but we're definitely watching some more development right now. So it's an evolving situation here, very unstable atmosphere. We're starting to get towards sunset. We're going to have a low-level jet kind of influencing our weather as we get towards the next few hours. So we're expecting more development right now. Strong storm north of Brownwood, nickel-sized hail, 50-mile-an-hour winds. Not severe warm, but it is pushing on off to the east at 30 miles an hour towards Comanche. San Angelo, we've been talking about it all day, about this chance. We've been dry. We do have a developing thunderstorm right now south and southwest of town. This will move on in. We'll be on Facebook Live if this does turn severe here. But so Facebook Live going to continue throughout the evening as we continue to watch these storms, and we'll have much more on air at 9 o'clock. We'll see you then.